Hi everyone, and as I keep starting and restarting new characters on Path of Exile 2, because what I'm really doing is waiting for the Templar, and might be waiting for quite a while, I thought I'd share something that may be worth thinking about if you're struggling in the very first levels. This concerns the Monk for reasons I'll go over, but could apply to any class. See, after playing each class through the first act at least a couple of times, and there's a few I've gone into like Act 3 before I get bored and start again with another character, what I've found is that I learn more about the game as I go through, obviously, and it gets easier to do certain aspects of it each time I go through. But the Monk seems to be the trickiest in the very early levels. And I mean very early, like literally the first couple of maps after you get to Clearfell. It becomes noticeable on the bosses in the maps themselves. And the reason I found is because the very starting skills are not as straightforward to use strongly as those of other classes. It can be done. I have done it. But the Monk just stands out as being harder until like at least level 6. Then it seems to get a bit better, especially if you can find a decent weapon. But then it occurred to me that the problem isn't with the Monk at all. See, there isn't a huge difference between the classes in Path of Exile 2, really, other than their snarky comments. I particularly like the Witch. But you start at a different point on the passive skill tree, but it's the same tree for everyone. You get, of course, a different distribution of stats as you level, sure. But the skills you use, your active combat abilities, don't really have anything to do with your class. The game gives you suggestions. At the very start of the game, on the Monk, you find a quarterstaff and quarterstaff skills. So you use them. And you carry on using them because, well, why wouldn't you? And it would appear that most do indeed do just that. But there's nothing saying you have to. So where the extra difficulty with the Monk arises, not actually with the Monk, but with the quarterstaff. The low rank skills, not that great, especially at low rank. A bow wielding ranger, for example, will pick up lightning rod and lightning arrow. Some of the popular builds use those two skills right into endgame. You'll add to them, obviously, but those two will still remain on your bar all the way through. But for the Monk, what you got? You've got Glacial Cascade. Well, that only does good damage if you can catch the mob right at the end of it. That is not always easy, especially if you or the mob are moving, or both, and quite often at least one of you is. Killing Palm and Falling Thunder is what you'll have to combine if you want decent damage. Falling Thunder on its own is pretty crap. But you can charge it up by executing mobs with Killing Palm. So it's good for clearing sort of trash to an extent. On a boss where there are adds on the fight, you can do that. But it's still fiddlier than other classes with their different weapons where early skills are more straightforwardly strong, where they link together more easily. And if the boss doesn't have any adds, well, that's not as much use to you. But there is an easier option, like I say. The skills have got nothing to do with the class. So if you find yourself struggling with the Monk in the very early levels, because it doesn't take long before the quarterstaff skills are actually decent, then you could just grab a bow. Get a bow, take lightning arrow and lightning rod, and just go nuts for a few levels. And it doesn't have to be just the Monk. It's just that although I have gone through that very early game on 2 Monks now, and with the quarterstaff throughout, I did find the very early slog more of a struggle, and actually thinking back it would just have been easier with the bow, which is a lesson I'm going to carry with me later on. If when the Templar finally comes out I take a look at it and I feel that the early skills are a little bit weak and I need a few levels to get the good ones, I'll just make it an Archer Templar. I'll make sure I have the dexterity to get the right gems, use the good skills, and then wait till the proper Templar skills or the flail skills come online. But let me know what you think anyway in the comments. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.